There you go.
And we're off.
So yeah,
So
this is the first fight. This is the first fight. Against Malkazar. This fight is made with a pre-made deck, so there is no deck building into this fight.
This, by the way, is the first boss of the run, the loading bar.
True. You already see one part of the loading screen. Yeah, the times are kind of inconsistent. So with an SSD, it could range between something maybe like 3 to 8 seconds. And yeah, for this boss, you are going to see a lot of cards that you never see in regular gameplay. And unfortunately, there's also quite a lot of dialogues here, which you might have to wait. So alright, so Mirin does use a card that summons a random legendary for only 1 mana. Oh, and so does Tsubaki. Oh wow, Tsubaki did Ragnaros. That's a really hard roll. So yeah, Ragnaros deals 8 damage to a random enemy random enemy character at the end of your turn. So yeah, it's like free 8 damage every turn if it doesn't die. But the thing about this boss is that the enemy have... So okay, let me explain what hero power is. You see the circles besides the hero portraits. That's called the hero power. You could use your hero power once a turn, and it doesn't remove any card from your deck. So yeah, you could use your hero power anytime throughout the fight. And the hero power of this boss is really strong. It summons a minion with 6 attack and 6 health for only 2 mana. So normally that minion costs like 6 mana, but he could summon it for 2 manas. And the boss also starts... Yes?
I mean, your hero power isn't that bad either.
True.
It's draw 3 cards.
For 2 mana. And oh, wait a minute! Whoa! Mirin got a really lucky RNG there. Do you see? So one of his random legendary cards given Archmage Antonidas and comboed with the card that gives 0 cost spells, he could have an infinite fireball. Oh! To think that this is actually happening in a marathon. So yeah, So Antonidas, whenever you cast a spell, you will get a card called Fireball, which deals 6 damage, and because your deck have a card that makes all your spell cost 0, that means your Fireball costs 0, and you could cast Fireball over and over again. And Mirin just wins instantly here. Well, this is a really unfair advantage to Mirin.
Mirin just luck sacks right into the infinite Fireball combo and moves right on to the second fight.
Wow, 3 minutes fight. This is world record for this fight, I'm pretty sure. And
IL world record, everybody.
Yeah, I should submit this to the leaderboard. Anyway, right. So Mirin will start moving on to the next fight, Silverware Golem. Let me explain a bit about the Malkazar fight first. So it's a pre-made deck. So your boss, the enemy have a way to summon a bunch of minions, strong minions early on, but you also have really powerful spells. So one example of the spell is a spell that makes all your other spell deal 5 more damage, and that will be a way to kill your opponents eventually. And oh, what's happening? Is Mirin restarting? Oh yeah, he's looking at the mulligan. Oh, so I guess he thinks his mulligan is bad and he restarts straight away. But anyway, yeah, let's go back to the first fight first. So you kind of play like a control deck in this fight. You basically want to clear out his minions on the early game, while using your hero power to draw the spells that you will need to kill him in the long term. And Mirin and Tsubaki managed to get some board clear just now to kill some of the minions. And anyway, while Tsubaki is doing this run, let me carry on to the next fight. So Mirin is doing a boss called Silverware Golem. Silverware Golem have a hero power which only costs 0 mana. Then it summons 2 minions with 1 attack and 1 health. So it will only take a few turns for him to make his board full of these 1/1 plates. So yeah, these minions are called plates. And yeah, all the bosses minions are based on silverwares. And the obvious strategy of this deck is to use cards that deal damage to all minions at once. So you see, one example of the minion here is Unstable Ghoul. It's a minion with a taunt, and because it has a taunt, your opponent can attack anything else if they didn't kill the taunt. And when Unstable Ghoul dies, it will deal 1 damage to all minions. This somehow...
that's gonna take care of those plates.
True, and this also breaks the AI a bit, because the AI don't want to let their plates die, and so they stop attacking the ghoul. And because the ghoul have a taunt, they can't attack anything else. So that saves a lot of animation time.
Now the fork there gave all the plates charge, right?
True, yeah. And however,
and
eventually
the knife gives them taunt, I guess?
Yes, yeah. Knife gives the plates taunt and fork gives the plates charge. So basically, a bunch of these minions, bunch of his minions will buff the plates, and if you let the plates stay alive for a long time, you will be dead pretty soon.
And it looks like Tsubaki had to restart the Malkavian fight.
That was unfortunate. The fight does have a bit chance of losing. And oh wow, that's also a really quick Silverware Golem. Mirin, he actually finished Silverware Golem in less than 7 minutes. This is like, I think like maybe at 6 minutes, 6 minutes below the world record pace. And
wow.
Yeah, so while Tsubaki is unfortunately have to repeating his first fight, let me just start to commentate the next fight, which is Magic Mirror. So Magic Mirror, the gimmick of this fight is that whenever a character plays a card, whether you or the opponent plays a card, the opponent will get a copy of that minion, with a stat of 1 attack and 1 health. So basically, this allows you to give any minion you want to your opponent, and obviously the strategy is to put a minion that have a downside for the opponent.
Oh, so Tsubaki restarting again.
Oh yeah, that was really unfortunate. Yeah, I'm not sure what happens just now on Tsubaki's fight. But yeah, so you see an example in the Mirin's fight. He played a Tentacle of Insult, which deals 1 damage to all minions, and the opponent will get a copy of it. So there will be 2 Tentacle of Insult, and when one of them dies, it will also kill the other tentacle, and it will deal 2 damage to all minions on the board, which makes it really easy in clearing out the opponent's minion.
Yeah, so we're gonna wipe the board a little.
Yeah.
And before you can start playing your haymakers.
And yeah, another example of a minion with downside is Doomsayer. If you see that rat minion in his hand, yeah, that minion will, at the start of the turn, Doomsayer, if it managed to survive 1 turn, it will destroy all minions. But because the Doomsayer is given to your opponent, the opponent can play around it, and yeah, basically all his minions will die easily
at the start of their turn.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But the main strategy of this deck haven't. Oh, what is Mirin doing? I'm not sure what he is resetting.
He restarted.
Yeah, this strategy depends on a certain card with a really significant downside, and I think it haven't appeared yet. So let's just wait for it.
Yeah, I still haven't seen the real winner card here yet.
Oh, hold on a minute. Actually, I just wait. No, sorry, my bad. Never mind. So, oh, there you go. He got it. Sense Demons. So there's a 3-mana spell called Sense Demons. It will draw demons from your deck, and the main strategy of this fight revolves around this specific demon. So I'll just wait a bit, and while at the same time let's take a look at Tsubaki's fight. Oh wow, he actually restarted again. Man, this has been really unlucky.
So many restarts on Malchezaar.
Yeah, I think back when I was doing Heroic Karazhan times, this boss have like maybe 25% chance of losing. I'm not sure if he played the same way as I do, but yeah, it's really unfortunate. And there you go, Holmit. So look at Mirin's run. You are going to see the strategy. There you go. So that demon he drew just now is called Unlicensed Apothecary. So it's for a 3. Hold on a minute, my stream lagged a bit, but yeah. So for a 3 mana card, Unlicensed Apothecary have a stats of 5 attack and 5 health, which is really high. But it have a significant downside, where if you played a minion while Unlicensed Apothecary is on the board, you will deal 5 damage to your own health. And yeah, you see here he give Unlicensed Apothecary to the opponent, and now whenever the opponent plays a minion, the Unlicensed Apothecary will deal 5 damage. And what's even funnier is that Magic Mirror have a spell named Mirror Entity that will duplicate his own Unlicensed Apothecary. So now every time he will play a minion, he will got dealt 10 damage to himself just by that card.
Does that include when he duplicates one of your minions?
Nah, it's just his own minions.
Okay.
And also the good hold on a minute, alright. And the good thing about this fight is that you could summon minions at your opponent's side anytime you want, because the opponent will summon a 1/1 copy every time you summon a minion. So there you go. Tsubaki just summoned 2 minions on the opponent's side, which will deal 20 damage to the opponent. So the opponent only have 10 health left, and 10 health left will only take 2 triggers of the Unlicensed Apothecary, which makes this boss really quick. So on average, I think this fight usually takes like 7 turns. On my attempts, it usually takes somewhere between 5 to 9 turns, which is much faster compared to... So if you look at online guides for this strategy, they are mostly using control decks, which could take like more than like 30 turns maybe. But with this strategy, you could cut this fight down by like 6 turns, which obviously help a lot. And there you go, you see his opponent summoning minion while Unlicensed Apothecary is on the board, without realizing that will kill himself. So yeah, again, this is kind of an AI exploit, and it is just one of them. And Mirin will win. He just summons 2 minions on the opponent board, which will deal 10 damage.
And GG.
Yep, that's... Well, actually, this fight haven't been going really well for him. He did 2 quick restarts, which, I don't know, maybe waste like 2 minutes. But yeah, and so now we are going to the chess fight. Okay, the chess fight is really interesting. So it's totally different from the regular gameplay of Hearthstone. Yeah, hold on a minute. Let's just wait a bit until you see some of the minions. While waiting, we see Tsubaki is right now doing a bunch of spells to damage the enemy hero, and also at the same time clearing a bunch of the minions. Okay, so the chess. So the minions works differently compared to regular gameplay. Each minion will deal a damage at the end of the turn to an enemy character in the opposing position. So for example, you will see hold on a minute. Yeah, you'll see Mirin here plays 2 pawns, 2 white pawns, and the pawns will deal damage to the black pawns opposite of which is in the opposite position of the white pawns.
Yeah,
and
since you had a black pawn between the 2 white pawns, it dealt damage to both of them on the swing back.
Yes, that is one of the main strategy of this fight, is to try to maximize your damage output by having two enemy minions in the opposite position of your own minions. And yeah, we see an example here. Just now, Mirin used a card called the Knight, which allows you to deal damage directly instead of the end of the turn. And it's different compared to the other minions here.
Right, the Knight is 4/3, and so it can deal 4 damage to any one minion. We also noted that there was a Bishop on the board for the other player. That's going to heal the nearby minions, and now the white player, or Mirin himself, has his own Bishop.
Yeah, so yeah, you see with a Bishop in a good position, you could keep healing your minions, and you will have a good board dominance. So
let's talk about let's talk about what that hero power does for you.
Right. So first of all, you have a hero power 1 mana which shift. So you selected a minion with the hero power, and it will shift the position into the left side, and that allows a lot of strategy, different kind of strategy in terms of how you arrange the position of your minions, while the opponent have a really strong hero power that where for only 2 mana he will instantly destroy a minion that is on the leftmost side of your board. And that's one reason why this fight is really hard for most players. However, previously I have talked about an AI exploit on this boss. So if the leftmost minion have a low health, like maybe only 1 health or 2 health, for some reason the AI won't use the hero power. I think that this, if we could consider this a bug. Just now the AI is still using hero power. That's kinda unfortunate. But yeah, I'm not sure what fully happened just now. I think the health of the minion just now isn't that high. And finally Tsubaki managed to finish the Malkazar's fight. It takes him 17 minutes. Wow, that's really unlucky.
So his Silverware Golem deck is a different deck, it appears to be.
Yes. So, alright. So while Mirin is doing his chess fight, let me talk a bit about Mirin's strategy. Tsubaki's strategy. Tsubaki have a different strategy. He's using a safer strategy compared to what Mirin used. It's it's called the Mildred. So the Mill archetype is an archetype where the main strategy is based on drawing cards as much as possible for your opponent until they run out of cards in your deck. And in Hearthstone, when you run out of cards in your deck, you will start taking a damage every turn. It's a mechanic called fatigue. And Druid have a lot of cards which allows you to draw cards for your opponent. And yeah, so this the Mildred fight will take several minutes. And so while waiting until the milling started. Oh, what the hell? Oh, Tsubaki is thinking of restarting. That's unlucky, but anyway.
So do we expect to see some like Cold Light Oracles and
yes, Cold Light Oracles. And there's another card called Naturalize, which destroys a minion only for 1 mana, but it draws 2 cards for your opponent. So it seems like a really strong spell, but it also gives a huge downside in a way that your opponent will draw 2 cards from the spell. But it's not a downside when your game plan is to draw as much card as possible for your opponent. And anyway, yeah, just now we see here so let's look back at the Mirin's chess fight. So he have a full board right now. Normally the AI will use his hero power to destroy a minion, but because his leftmost minion have a low health, for some reason the AI never used that hero power. And there you go, Mirin just win. So Mirin is well ahead of Tsubaki right now because he managed to instantly win the first fight. And Mirin will now go to the second fight. The fifth fight is Julian. So yeah, so I guess the action haven't really been started on Tsubaki's side. So let me explain about Julian. Julian is a boss fight that is based on Romeo and Juliet. So the boss here, Julian, the gimmick is that Julian will have a minion called Romulo. It's a minion with 4 attack and only 2 health. But when Romulo is alive, Julian will be immune. And by immune, that means you can't damage Julian at all. And if you kill Romulo, Julian will instantly resummon the Romulo next turn with her hero power. Her hero power only costs 0 mana, so it costs nothing. And yeah, and she will keep summoning Romulo over and over. But yeah, that's the gimmick of this fight. But still, this fight is actually one of the fight for this adventure. And there's a bunch of alternative strategies that you could try out. It's mostly based on this playing a archetype called a mid-range archetype, which is the most basic way of playing Hearthstone. You just put minions, you control the board with your minions, and eventually when you get board control, you hit the opponent's face. So the deck that Mirin is using is a Paladin deck. Paladin could easily make a really strong mid-range deck. Yeah, you could see one of the newer card of the recent expansion set on his hand, the Corridor Creeper. Yeah, that minion is broken if you are paying attention to Hearthstone Ladder.
So
anyway,
what does Corridor Creeper do?
Right, yeah, Corridor Creeper, it's a 7 cost minion with a 5 attack and 5 health, but every time a minion dies, his cost will be reduced by 1. So it's really easy to get Corridor Creeper to cost only like 1 or 0 mana, especially when the fight involves a bunch of minions such as this one. So Julian can easily summon multiple minions at once, and so does your hero. So yeah, right now I think his Corridor Creeper already, it costs what is it, 1 I think, and
it looks like 2 to me.
Right, 2.
But does it does the Corridor Creeper have to be in your hand to get this cost reduction?
Yes, yeah, it have to be in your hand, but yeah, the main point is that it's an example of how new card could be really strong for your deck. And so before we continue on commentating on Mirin's side, let's look at Tsubaki's fight. So this is an example of how Mirin works. You make the opponent draw a lot of cards with so that spell is called Naturalize. It will destroy a minion and draw 2 cards for your opponent. But because your opponent have run out of cards in his deck, every time he draws, he will deal damage instead. Damage to himself, and he will die pretty soon. So the way Fatigue works is that the first time you draw, you will get dealt 1 damage, and then 2 damage, 3 damage, etc. So I'm pretty sure at this point the opponent's Fatigue is already really high, and he will be dead in next turn. Actually, he's dead already. So yeah, that's Mildred in action. And
now, I do note that it also caused Tsubaki to draw through his entire deck as well.
True.
So he was low on cards as well. So if he hadn't timed that properly, he might have run out of health himself.
True, but the thing about Silver Ray Golem is that he has spells that draws a lot of cards for himself. So it's very unlikely for you to run out of cards before him. And yeah, that's why Mildred is really consistent in that fight. And right now, okay, so now Tsubaki will be doing the Magic Mirror fight with similar strategies as Mirin. So he's using the Unlicensed Apothecary. And since we already covered that one, let's go look at Mirin's run. So yeah, right now he already dominated his board because his deck is really good, and now he's going to score lethal pretty soon. So yeah, there's a bunch of alternative strategies for Julian because Julian is an easy fight. Back when I was doing a speedrun, I was using Warlock, and Tsubaki uses Shaman in his world record. But right now, both of them will be using Paladin. Okay, so now Mirin will do a Big Bad Wolf. Big Bad Wolf have a unique gimmick in it. In this fight, all your cards will only cost 1 mana, but their stats will only... all your minions will only cost 1 mana, but their attack and health will only be 1, so all your minions are small. However, there's an exploit to this fight. The 1/1 debuff on your own minions will only be applied to minions that are directly played from your hand. So, if you remember so in the Kobolds and Catacombs set, there's a bunch of cards with the Recruit mechanic. Recruit is a mechanic that allows you to summon a minion directly from your deck instead of your hand.
Oh.
And when you summon a minion in that way, the minion will have its own original stats instead of being 1 attack and 1 health. So you could easily summon a minion with like 8 health and 8 attack on turn 1.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of thinking small time. I was just thinking like Faceless Summoner or something. Look, I get a 1/1 with a 5/5, sure. But no, that's much better.
Yeah, this... and right now Mirin is using a card called Grand Archivist, which allows you to instantly cast a spell from your deck, and that spell is a 9 mana spell. So you could see he have a really strong board presence right now. So on turn 1, he casts a spell that costs 9 mana, basically, which is obviously really strong.
Turn 1 free Call of the Wild seems pretty good.
Yeah, turn 1 Huffer is good, definitely. And Mirin just...
It's
Tsubaki
literally always Huffer.
Yep. And yeah, there's only one spell in his deck, which is Call of the Wild. So Grand Archivist will constantly summon it. So another example. Yes, Kel'Thuzad is again a minion that will summon any friendly minions that die during this turn. So when you summon a minion without playing it from your hand, it will have its original stats, which make Kel'Thuzad really strong because right now, what the hell is the AI doing?
Why did the AI not kill Kel'Thuzad?
For some reason, you saw the AI killing 1/1, and the 1/1 is resummoned as a 5/5, which is the original stats of the Sylvanas. And again, I don't know why the AI is killing Sylvanas instead of Kel'Thuzad, because Sylvanas have a very strong death rattle, which steals a random minion from your opponent. And yeah, so this is only a turn 3, and you can see how strong the Mirin's board is.
And so now we see why a speed run of this is possible, because the AI is not smart.
That's one funny part about Hearthstone speedruns. You see a bunch of dumb movements by the AI. Although to be fair, since Knight of the Frozen Throne is released, the AI has been significantly improved. That actually increases the difficulty of the Silverware Golem, which is the second boss of this fight. And when I was doing my speedrun, I was doing a Paladin deck, but that deck doesn't work anymore because the AI is actually smart. Anyway, yeah, you see Mirin managed to beat it in only like 4 turns, which is really quick, obviously. And
so what's our 6th fight? Or 7th fight?
It's the Crone, which is based on the Wizard of Oz.
Ah.
Yeah, so in the Crone, you will be given a minion on your board called Dorothy. Dorothy have a stat of 0 attack and 10 health. You need to keep this minion alive. Otherwise the boss will instantly deal 100 damage to your hero. So yeah, you'll be dead instantly.
I was gonna say, can we interfire this? But there it is.
Yes, there you go. Remember when I was saying how there's a boss where you get 10 damage at the start? There you go. So interfire is a card that makes your attack equals to your own health, and because Dorothy have 10 health, her attack will also be buffed into 10. And by getting an inner fire very early, you could beat this boss very quickly. But let me explain some gimmicks on this Julian fight. I mean, on this Crone fight.
Oh, right. You get, like, if you play it to the right of Dorothy, you get taunt, right?
Yeah, and while the left of minions that you played on left of Dorothy, you get charge. So let's say if you play Faceless Manipulator, which you could use to copy the Dorothy, to transform it into a copy of Dorothy, the Faceless Manipulator will gain charge straight away, and you could deal 10 damage immediately. And so this basic strategy of this fight is to put minions with Death Rattle on the right side, because the Death Rattle will summon minions, and this minion will have Taunt again, so it will be really hard for the AI to kill the Dorothy. And while another strategy is to put high attack minions on the left side of Dorothy, so such as this one, you copy the Dorothy with your Faceless Manipulator, and that will allow you to deal 10 damage straight away.
So I just noticed that causing, playing the copy of Dorothy caused that Dorothy to gain taunt because it was to the right of a Dorothy.
Yes, yeah, there are two Dorothys now. So yeah, that leads to quite a funny interaction. But anyway, now on to the next fight, which is this one is the Curator fight. Right, the Curator is, so the gimmick of this fight is that the hero have Taunt instead of the minion. So let me repeat this again. Taunt is a mechanic in Hearthstone where if minions have a Taunt, you can't attack any other characters before you kill that Taunt. And right now, the hero is the one that actually have Taunt, so you can't directly attack any of his minions. And that could lead, so normally in Curator, quite a lot of cards in your deck will be cards that will directly deal damage to the opponent, because you can't attack them directly, basically. So yeah, but this is a pretty easy fight actually to casually beat, but beating it fast and consistently is hard. So you will see the runners here use a rather slow strategy but safer. Mirin is using what it looks like a Town Warrior deck, a strategy that revolves around summoning a bunch of towns. And right, if you remember in the first turn just now, Mirin plays a spell called a Quest. A Quest is a mechanic that is introduced about like 8 months after Karazhan is released. When you play the quest, you will be basically given a quest, and if you manage to complete the quest, you will be given a really strong reward. And for a warrior, the quest is to summon 7 towns, and when you manage to summon those towns, he will get a weapon that will transform his hero power into a really strong hero power. This hero power will deal 8 damage to a random enemy. So yeah, basically you could just deal 8 damage at every turn. And you see Mirin just completed this quest, and he got that weapon. He doesn't have enough mana to use his hero power yet, but it won't take a long time for him to kill the enemy at this point, because the hero power deals a lot of damage every turn.
So your hero power becomes basically Ragnaros.
Yes, Ragnaros. Yeah, if you remember, yeah, I think you see Ragnaros like at the very start of the run. Oh, Tsubaki just restarted his chest. Yeah, that was.
Oh.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Chess is indeed hard. And
Tsubaki's really taking a shellacking here.
Yeah, so he's been really unlucky on the fight with the pre-made decks. Yeah, again, these decks. So chess and the first fight, it's a fight where you are given the deck by the game, so you don't get to do any deck building. And so it's just all about the execution and RNG. And oh, Tsubaki is trying something interesting here. He is not playing any minions yet. So I think his plan is to put a single hold on. Oh no, his plan is to put 3 minions at once at turn 3. That will allow him to do double damage with each of his spawn at the end of the turn, because the opponent only have 2 minions. And he actually has a strong start here with 3 pawns on turn 3 and a knight on turn 4. Now he's getting board control. But again, this fight have unfortunately quite a lot of RNG, so unfortunately he just restarted because things doesn't go well. And one part of the difficulty of chess that I haven't explained is the fact that your deck only have like 15 cards, I think. So, but the opponent have 30 cards in his deck, so you will run out of cards pretty quickly, and if you can't kill the boss quick enough, you will lose because you run out of cards. So there's a lot of times where even if you manage to get board control in the game, you can't kill the opponent fast enough, and you will eventually run out of cards.
Yeah, I think the deck contains like 2 knights, 2 bishops, 1 queen, like maybe 2 rooks, maybe 1 rook, and the rest are pawns.
I think so. Yeah, it's something along those lines. And yeah, you see Mirin just managed to beat Curator. Yeah, you see when he got his quest, it doesn't take a lot of trouble for him to kill the hero. And now we are going to the next fight, the Nightbane. In Nightbane, both of the players will start at 10 mana, so you could summon big minions straight away at the start of your game. And there are multiple strategies you could do in this boss because this boss is pretty easy actually. He's using a druid. Druid have a lot of good high cost cards. And yeah, one example is that Afiana, if you see that middle a 9 mana minion that makes all your card costs 1 mana. So if the and you Sarge, interesting. Yeah, so yeah, if Afiana survives a turn, you could summon any cards you want in the next turn. And oh wow, he managed to get Afiana. So Kun the Forgotten King will restores all your mana back. So all your card costs 1 and you get 10 mana back, so you could summon everything in your board straight away. This is really interesting. However, Nightbane have a card called Deathwing, which destroys all your minions instantly. So let's just hope that Nightbane doesn't top deck a Deathwing, because if Nightbane managed to get Deathwing, things could be really dangerous because Mirin already ran out of cards. But yeah, if things goes well, then he will win next turn, which is a really quick win in only 3 turns. Well, unfortunately, Tsubaki is still struggling with chess. He just restarted again. Chess does have a significant amount of RNG, unfortunately. Oh, and Nightbane doesn't have Deathwing, which means that Mirin will win next turn. And the next fight after Nightbane is what is it again? It's Illhoof, right? Illhoof have a really interesting gimmick in it. You will see it soon. Right, so in Illhoof, the boss is immune. You can't attack the boss directly, and the way hold on a minute. Let's just wait until the loading is finished. Yeah, you see that blue glow in the Illhoof's portrait. That shows that he is immune and you can't damage him. And you see the boss have 1 minion there. It's called the Iki Imps. And when you kill an imp, it will deal 2 damage to the boss, and the imp will resummon itself. So the way you win this boss is to kill 20 imps. But yeah, there's a new card that is released in the Knights of the Frozen Throne expansion, which makes this boss goes really quick. But I guess right now Mirin is trying to draw that spell and he keeps restarting every time he doesn't get one. Let's just hope he got one soon. Oh, and he restarted again.
Yep, you got those six cards out of 30, and you can have 2 copies of it in your deck. So you're gonna have 2 cards from 6. You're looking at about a 20% chance of having any 1 card in your opener.
Well, and there's also the fact that on the start of the game you got to discard any cards out of the 3 cards you could choose. So it's more like you get to draw 9 cards at the start of the game. So 9 out of 30 is what is it? 30%? Yeah.
Well, I was counting the mulligan, so you get the 3 and then you get the other 3, so that's 6.
Yeah. Right. Yes. My bad. So yeah, basically he got a spell here. So, but you see, there's a spell that have been released on the Knights of the Frozen Throne expansion. It's called Defile. So what Defile does is that it deals 1 damage to all minions, and if the spell manages to kill any minions, the spell will be repeated again. And because the imps resummon itself, the spell will be repeated over and over, and the boss will instantly dies. Just like you see here, the boss have imps with 1 health and another imps with 2 health. So the Defile will deal 1 damage to all minions. One of the imp will die, and the other imp will have 1 health. So the spell is repeated, and the second imp will die, while the first imp will now have 1 health, and so everything is repeated until the boss dies.
That's why you have to deal 1 damage to one of the imps before you start this loop.
And actually, Blizzard specifically programmed Defile to only trigger a maximum amount of 14 times. In case you manage to exploit the spell in a way that allows you to deal infinite triggers. So yeah, you see Defile got triggered 14 times, and that is more than enough to kill the boss. And a turn 3 win is really quick, although unfortunately Mirin 2 restarts. And now Mirin will do the next boss called Shade of Aran. Shade of Aran will give a bonus to both players. Both players will have +5 spell damage. So obviously the strategy here is to just spam as much as cheap damaging spells as possible until the boss dies. And because your deck is better, and because your spells are better than the opponent's spell, you will be guaranteed to kill him pretty quickly. But there's another element of this fight. You see, and on Mirin's hand, he have a 4-mana card called Kezan Mystic. It will steal a card type named a secret card from your opponent, and this is really helpful for the fight because on turn 3, Shade of Aran will play a secret card called Flame Red. Oh, actually he played on turn 2 this time. I guess the AI changed a bit since I was doing the run long time ago. And yeah, so on the next turn, Mirin will be able to steal this secret. And what is a secret, first of all? A secret is a card that will trigger on your opponent's turn if a specific event occurred. And Shade of Aran is specifically programmed to play a specific secret called Flame Red. Flame Red, I'm not sure how to pronounce this word, but Flame Red will deal 10 damage whenever an opponent minion attacks. And now that you stole the secret, you are the one who managed to use it against your opponent. That makes the fight even quicker. And now I'm pretty sure he is pretty close to lethal here. Actually, he have lethal already. Oh, by lethal I mean Mirin is able to kill his opponent. Well, not yet. My bad. But
next turn.
Yeah, Mirin will win next turn, and he will go to the second last fight after this. Well, oh, and Tsubaki finally managed to beat Chess like a few minutes ago. That took a really long time, unfortunately. That took 40 minutes. But after Chess, actually, since all the decks are using decks that you built by yourself, all the next fight should be consistent. So Mirin's run should be finishing in like about maybe 11 minutes, 12 minutes maybe. So after that, I could repeat my commentary for Tsubaki's fight, I guess. But anyway, yeah, let's move on to the next boss, Nether's Spite. So Nether's Spite also have some unusual gimmicks. First of all, you see, wait, the portals haven't appeared yet. Hold on. Let's just wait a minute.
There they
Yeah, so
are.
you see the two portals. So the portal is buffing the dragon if you didn't block it, but you could use a minion. If you place a minion beside the portal, the beam will be blocked and the buff will be transferred into your minion instead. And so what does the portal do? The red portal will give Wind Fury to the boss. So Wind Fury allows you to attack twice, while the blue portal will make the minions can only take 1 damage at once. So obviously the strategy here is to put minions beside the portals, and the hero itself have a really strong hero power. His hero power will give 8 attacks. So 8 attack combined with a Wind Fury, he could potentially deal 16 damage at a turn. And if you didn't block any of the portals, he will be dead in 2 turns because he will deal 32 damage. And also another interesting point about Netherspell about this fight is that he doesn't have any minions. All his deck are spells. So there are some minions that become very strong due to the fact that he doesn't have any minions. Example here is Dirty Rat. Dirty Rat is the right side minion with 2 attack and 6 health. It's only 2 mana, and when you summon it, normally it will summon a minion for your opponent for free. So that's a huge downside, but because the opponent doesn't have any minions, this card ends up this card doesn't have any downside at all.
Specifically, I think the Dirty Rat pulls the minion from your opponent's hand if it's there, right?
True, yes. And another example is Armored Warhorse. So Armored Warhorse will reveal 2 minions from each player's deck. They will compare the cost of these minions, and if your minion is of a higher cost, the Armored Warhorse will gain charge. But because the opponent doesn't have any minions, Armored Warhorse will be guaranteed to have a charge. And also another feature. So one part of the strategy is to use Mage, because Mage have a lot of cards that freeze your opponent. By freeze, that means your opponents can't attack for a turn, and because your opponent will attack a lot, that will, by disabling his attack, it will save up quite a lot of animation time. And yeah, you see now the opponent can't get rid of the minions, and Mirin will win because his Armored Warhorse has Wind Fury, which allows the horse to attack twice at a turn, and which means you could deal 10 damage at a turn with the horse. So now Mirin is going to the final fight. Yes. So before the run, I have said how the strategy, and so he uses Warlock. Let's see if anyone in the chat could figure out why Warlock is used for this boss. But first of all, let me explain what this boss is. So this fight has 2 phases. The first boss is Nazra, and when you kill Nazra, another boss will appear, which is Prince Malkazar. So the second boss is a really strong one. He will start with a spell called Twisting Nether, which instantly destroys all your minions, and he will be able to summon a bunch of minions at once also. But oh, there you go. The strategy
I think I might have seen the spoiler there.
Yeah. Anyway, so for the spectators who didn't catch that, I won't spoil what the strategy is yet, but yeah, just know the strategy is spoiled. So the first boss, Nazra, is you could consider it an aggro boss. By aggro, I mean she have a really aggressive deck, and she have a bunch of cards that could deal a lot of damage to your hero straight away. So what you do here is just to stall the boss as much as possible by using cards such as Doomsayer or your taunts. And I was also talking about how this boss have 2 phases, right? Well, there's a strategy that you could use to skip the second phase. And yeah, the strategy haven't been shown yet. So for the strategy to work, you actually don't want to kill the first boss at all. You just want to stall that fight, and that's why you wouldn't see Mirin attacking the enemy hero at all. All you do right now is just putting in taunts, stalling the game, and keep drawing cards until you get all your
What is
combo
he
pieces.
doing? He just attacked it.
Oh, actually, I think I know why Mirin attacks, because if the boss is at like a low health, she won't attack your minions with her weapons. That helps things a bit, I guess, but it's not necessary. And right now you'll see, yeah, you're just going to see Mirin stalling the fight, and that's one of the combo pieces there, Emperor Taurison. It's a 6 mana minion that at the end of the turn it will reduce the cost of all the cards in your hand. So it's a card that you often use to trigger some combos that normally have high manas, which you will also see throughout this fight. Oh, actually, Mirin is in a dangerous position just now, and he chooses to restart, unfortunately, because he have low health and the opponent have a... That was unfortunate. But yeah, so we're just going to see Mirin stalling the boss again. So while Mirin is restarting the boss, let me just run. He's right now on a fight. He's on the which boss is this? It's the 8th boss. It's called wait, no, hold a minute. It's the 6th boss. Is Big Bad Wolf. It's the boss where all your minions are only cost 1 mana, but it will only have a stats of 1 attack and 1 health. But what's funny is that the 1/1 debuff to all your minions only applies to the minions that you summon directly from hand. That which you played directly from hand. And so if you manage to summon the minions through a different way other than playing it from your hand, the minions will have its original stats, which, as you can see here, allows him to have very huge minions very early on the game. And Tsubaki just beat the boss at 4 turns, which is really quick. And now he's heading to the next... Oh, Mirin just restarted again. That's unfortunate. The boss does have a bit of chance of losing. The last boss have a bit of chance to lose because sometimes you just don't draw a good early game and you could get killed pretty quickly. And unfortunately, Mirin has spent like, I think 4 minutes in this fight with 2 restarts. Let's hope he got lucky this time. And while we are waiting for Mirin to do his strategy, let's look at Tsubaki's fight. This is the Crone fight. It's a fight based on the Wizard of Oz. You are given a minion called Dorothy here. It's a minion that you have to protect, because if Dorothy dies, the opponent will be able to deal 100 damage to your face, which means you will die instantly. And Dorothy itself have its own gimmick, so any minions played on her right side will gain Taunt, while any minions on her left side will gain Charge, and Charge is a mechanic that allows you to attack with the minion straight away. So the main strategy in defending Dorothy here is to use Death Rattle, to put Death Rattle on the right side of Dorothy, which allows you to... And this Death Rattle which will summon another minion, so it will be really hard for the opponent to get rid of these taunts. But the main strategy of this fight haven't been shown yet on Tsubaki's run. He is still trying to draw the card. Well, we've seen it on Mirin already, so the strategy is based on a card called Inner Fire. Inner Fire will... There you go, he just got it. So Inner Fire will make the attack of the minion equal to the amount of health, and because Dorothy have a really huge health, the attack will also be really huge. And just now, Tsubaki also used a card that copies the stats of the Dorothy, so he got a very huge minion straight away.
So SRD, one question: if the Crone kills one of your Dorothys, do you die, or does he have to kill both of your Dorothys?
Nah, you need to kill both, because the enemy's hero power said that if Dorothy is not alive anymore, then he could deal 100 damage. But yeah, if one of the Dorothy copies is still alive, that's still counted as a real Dorothy, so you still survive. And let's see, let's look at Mirin's fight again. So yeah, right now he's actually having a good board control right now, and he's just stalling until he got the combo. He got one of the combo pieces already, which is called Treachery. Treachery is a 3-mana spell that will send a friendly minion into the opponent's side. So yeah, if you're wondering why Treachery is a combo piece of this deck, you will see it soon when he draws the minion that he wants to use Treachery on. And alright, so while waiting for Mirin, let's talk about Tsubaki's strategy in Curator. So Tsubaki uses a different strategy here. Curator is a pretty easy fight actually, so which is why there are multiple strategies that you could try out. And he tries a Control Warlock. Warlock have a lot of board clears on the early game, which is suitable for this boss because Curator could summon multiple minions at once early on, and you can't attack the minions directly because the hero have a taunt. But Warlock spells allows you to ignore this taunt, and it allows you to control the board pretty easily. So now that he seems to have a decent control of the board already, all it takes to do is just to wait until he manages to summon his big minions. Warlock also have a lot of ways to summon big minions pretty easily. One example is the new Warlock legendary weapon, the newest expansion, School of the Manari. It's a 5-mana weapon that will allow you to summon a minion directly from your hand. I mean, it summons a demon from your hand, so you have a demon that, let's say, costs 9 mana, and you could summon it as early as turn 6 thanks to that weapon. And right now, if we are looking at Mirin's game, he have 2 of the combo pieces already. He have Treachery and Taurisan. He will use Taurisan to reduce the cost of Treachery, and the second part of... Oh, there you go, Mirin just stopped it. So yeah, that's Majordomo Executus, and Mirin will use Taurisan to reduce the cost of Majordomo Executus and Treachery. And so both the mana cost of Majordomo plus Treachery is 12 mana, which means it's impossible to play both cards at once normally, but because of Taurisan, those combo will now only cost 10 mana, so Mirin could play it straight away. And what does Majordomo Executus do? So it's a minion with a death rattle. When the minion dies, it will transform your hero into called Ragnaros the Fire Lord. This hero only have 8 health, and so the strategy is to give Majordomo to your opponent. You kill Majordomo and transform the hero into an 8 health minion. And you're going to see it here in action. So he summoned the Majordomo. Oh, I remember when I said this boss have 2 phases. When you kill the first boss, normally the second boss appear, but somehow when you transform the enemy into a different hero, the second boss won't appear. So you instantly win, and that's GG for Mirin. That's a PB by like 6 minutes with a time of like 58:25, I think. And yeah, so congratulations to Mirin.
Well done. 58.
Yeah. 58, I think 25, that's a PB by like 6 minutes. Mirin have a PB of like 104. And yeah, so again, it's kind of funny. So the story of the last fight is that you want to rescue the host of the party, which is Medivh. You are opening a portal to the demon world to kidnap Medivh, but at the start of the fight, you open a portal to the wrong world. That's why you meet Nazra, and so you need to kill Nazra. And after you kill Nazra, another portal will be summoned to the demon world. But for some reason, when Ragnaros is killed, you win the fight without even rescuing Medivh. So yeah, there's a bit of inconsistency in the lore here. For some reason, you win without even seeing Medivh. But anyway, congratulations.
Yeah, that seems entirely legit.
And yeah, let's watch Tsubaki's run. So Tsubaki is on the Nightbane fight, where you have 10 mana at the start of the fight, which allows you to summon huge minions at once, and that allows Tsubaki to have a bunch of strong minions early on, very early on.
Alright, so that takes care of that fight.
Yeah, he's heading to the next fight, which is what is it again? It's the Ilhu fight.
This is Defile to win.
Yes, so let me repeat this again. So Ilhuf, you see that blue glow in the hero. That shows that he is immune and you can't attack the hero directly. But Ilhuf have a minion called Iki Imps, and when you kill the Iki Imps, it will deal 2 damage to the enemy hero, while at the same time these imps will be resummoned. So the strategy here is to summon is to kill 20 imps. But a new card from the expansion called Knights of the Frozen Throne allows you to do this quickly. So there's a spell called Defile, which what is it again? Which deal 1 damage to all minions, and if any minions die, the spell will be repeated. So with Defile, you could make Defile to trigger infinite amount of times, which will kill infinite amount of imps, and that will instantly kill the boss. Because so you see here, when a spell is cast, it will kill one of the imps, and the imp will resummon itself. On the second time it was cast, the second imp will die, and the first imp will now have 1 health. So the Defile will be repeated on the first imp, and so on and so on. Blizzard actually specifically programmed Defile to only trigger for a limit of 14 times. So yeah, because they want to avoid any exploit that allows you to do it infinite amount of times, I suppose. And yeah, you see here the boss being beaten very quickly. So we're just waiting for the animation right now. Unfortunately, there's still some animation time, which takes more than a minute, I think. So yeah, it's not as quick as you might have hoped, but still very quick in a way. Oh, Mirin is doing an arena run. Interesting. It would be more fun if he did a dungeon run, speed run. But anyway, yeah, so let's head on to the next fight. So next fight is Shade of Aran. In this boss fight, both bosses will have +5 spell damage. And so obviously the strategy is to just put as many cheap damaging spells as you can in your deck, and just spam it as much as possible until your boss dies. And because you have better spells in your deck, you will kill the boss faster than what the boss could did. And yeah, we see here Tsubaki's hand have like 4 damaging spells in his hand, so all he did is just spamming it. And there's another important element of this fight. On turn 2... Oh wait a minute, boss haven't used it yet. Okay, never mind. I'll tell you about this important element after the boss shows it. So yeah, the boss played a secret just now. A secret is a card that will trigger on your opponent's turn if a specific event occurred. And this boss is programmed to specifically play a secret called Flame Red in turn 3. This secret will deal 10 damage to the enemy characters whenever an enemy is attacking. And to counter this secret, Tsubaki put a card called Kazan Mystic in his deck that will allow you to steal a secret. Unfortunately, unlike Mirin, he didn't have it yet. Although even without stealing the secret, you still have a bunch of spells that you could use to kill the boss pretty quickly. So yeah, the secret is just a side part of the boss, which isn't really important actually. And so right now he have just some. So all we do just now is wait until he managed to play enough spells. Oh, what this? Oh, unfortunately, turns out that the boss managed to kill Tsubaki before Tsubaki did. So yeah, he have to restart. That was really unlucky. There is a small chance of that happening, but again, it's a very small chance. But again, Tsubaki has been really unlucky in this run. Let me just review.
That's how RNG treats you.
Yeah, I mean this is a card game, so card game obviously have RNG in it, and you can't expect a good run every time. So yeah, Tsubaki takes 40 minutes until he cleared chess, which is only like the 4th fight. Yeah, he got really unlucky on the 1st and the 4th fight. Both of those fights have a pre-made decks, and by pre-made decks, I mean the game will give the deck to you, and you don't get any opportunity in modifying the deck. So yeah, those kind of fight is just basically based on your execution and RNG.
Now, of course, his opponent also got extremely lucky on those fights. For example,
True.
that wonderful Antonidas into Arcane Power.
Oh yeah, Mirin got really lucky on that fight. I think the chance of getting an Antonidas is like 1 out of, I don't know how many 100 legendaries so far in this game. I think there could be like at least 100 legendaries.
At least.
So assuming it's 100, the chance of getting an Antonidas is like 1 out of 100. And somehow Mirin managed to get that in a run, and that allows him to beat the boss really quickly. I think that was an IL world record for that fight. And yeah, now we're just waiting for Tsubaki to get enough spells to kill the boss. And there you go. So on to the next fight.
2 more fights left.
2 more fights, yes. So Nether Spite. Nether Spite is, well, the boss have some interesting mechanics, but let's just wait for the loading to clear up before I explain it. And for those who are just coming in, welcome to the speedrun of Hearthstone. This is a speedrun of Hearthstone have a bunch of single-player adventures, and this is a speedrun of one of these adventures called One Night in Karazhan. This is so Tsubaki and Mirin is doing a speedrun of the Heroic mode, which is a mode that have a very high difficulty for casual players. And yes, let me just start to go over the Nether Spike fights. So you see those 2 portals. The portals will buff the portal will shoot a beam to the dragon if you didn't block it to the minion with a minion, and that beam will give a buff. So the red beam will give the boss Wind Fury, which allows him to attack twice, while the blue beam will make the boss can only take 1 damage at a time. And so the strategy here is to block the right side of the portal with taunts, because in that way the taunt could only take 1 damage at a time, and it's very hard for the boss to kill the taunts. While at the same time you put a bunch of minions on the left side that have a high attack, and because those minions will get a Wind Fury, you could quickly kill the boss pretty easily. And also, another important part of this fight is the fact that the boss have no minions. All of his deck are spells. So this fact could be exploited in certain ways, because there are minions with downsides that doesn't apply when your opponent doesn't have any minions. So one example here is the Death Lord that you could see being played right now. So Death Lord is a town minion. It have 8 health for only 3 mana, which makes it really strong, right? But when Death Lord dies, your opponent will get a free summon. Your opponent will summon a minion from his deck for free. So that's a huge downside normally, but because your opponent doesn't have any minions, this downside doesn't apply at all. And so Deathlord is just an 8 health town for 3 manas, which is obviously really strong.
It's basically by myself 8 turns.
Yes. Well, unless the boss removes Deathlord, but for some reason, the boss just now uses a removal spell on a different minion instead of the Deathlord. And so with the board in control right now, all you just have to do is just kill the boss. And also, if you are wondering why we are using Mage, so this boss often attacks, and Mage have a lot of cards that freeze the opponent. Freezing the opponent will stop the opponent from attacking in 1 turn. So that saves up quite a lot of animation time. And Tsubaki just managed to beat it in like 7 turns, quick. So now let's move on to the last boss. So last boss is called Free Medivh. The story of this last boss is that you want to free the host of the party, which is Medivh, from a demon who kidnapped him. So you open a portal to his wall, but first time you open a portal to the wrong wall, so you meet this orc instead called Nazra, and the way the fight goes is that you beat Nazra, and after Nazra is dead, another hero will be summoned called Prince Malkazar, and you have to kill Malkazar. However, Malkazar is really strong. He have a spell called Twisting Nether, which instantly kills all your minions, and at the same time he could summon a bunch of minions with a low amount of mana. So usually the strategy of this fight revolves around trying to kill Malkazar as quick as possible. But right now we are using a new strategy that allows you to skip the second phase of the fight. So, but first of all, let's go over what the first boss is. So the first boss is called Nazra. She have an aggressive deck, and by aggressive deck I mean she have a lot of cards that could deal damage to your own hero straight away. And yeah, so all you want to do right now is to just basically stall the game. You want to keep blocking her minions from attacking your hero by using your town minions, and you also have cards that could easily use to clear the board. So one example here is Doomsayer. Doomsayer is a card that for 2 health you got a minion with 7, and if it manages to survive a turn, it will instantly clear everything. It will clear all minions on the board from the board. So because the opponent doesn't have 7 damage on the board, he can't kill the Doomsayer, and you could instantly clear all the enemy's minions here. And yeah, so I said earlier that the strategy of this fight revolves around skipping the second encounter using some kind of weird trick. So because you want to skip the second turn, you don't want to kill the first boss straight away. All you do here is just stalling until you manage to get the key combo pieces that will allow you to carry out your strategy. And before you get the combo pieces, the fight is kind of slow actually, because all you do is just keep stalling, and yeah, and it will probably take a few minutes until we could see the combo. So I guess now that I have some free time to read the chat, it's a good time if anyone on the chat want to ask me any questions about Hearthstone speedrunning. I'm not sure how many people in the chat are actually interested in Hearthstone, to be honest, because well, this is a speedrunning stream and you don't normally associate online card games with speedruns. But actually, Hearthstone have single-player adventures, which in my opinion makes a really interesting speedrun because of a bunch of weird strategies that you could do that you will normally never see in regular gameplay. So yeah, if any of you here played Hearthstone and want to look at some variety in gameplay, try speedrunning this. Go to the Hearthstone speedrunning leaderboard, and yeah, you could also go to our Discord channel and talk with a bunch of other speedrunners. It's it's been a fun time lately because of the Cobalt and Catacombs release, which have a dungeon run mode that introduced a lot of new speedrunners into this game. Anyway, enough rambling right now. So yeah, the only question comes from Zyper. Why am I God? No, I am not. And you could see in the leaderboard, I got beaten by Tsubaki by a huge amount of time. So, and for those who just coming in, well, welcome to the speedrun of Hearthstone. Well, you are near the end of this speedrun. So Hearthstone is an online card game. But Hearthstone also have several different single-player adventures, and Karazhan is one of these adventures. So the speedrun is trying to beat the heroic mode, which is like a mode that is made to be really difficult. However, with a bunch of new cards and clever strategies, you will see a lot of strategies that most players aren't aware of, and a bunch of interesting way to make difficult boss becomes really consistent. And right now, Tsubaki is in the middle of doing his last boss. So this last boss, let me repeat this again. The last boss have two phases. This is the first phases. The first phase is a boss called Nazra, and when you kill the first boss, a second boss will appear. But however, right now we are trying a strategy which lets you skip the second phase of the fight. And right now, what Tsubaki is trying to do is he is trying to stall the game until he managed to get all the important combo pieces, which allows him to carry out the strategy in skipping the second fight. There you go. That's the main part of the strategy here. Majordomo Executus. So Majordomo is a card. It's a minion, 9-mana minion with 9 attack and 7 health. When he dies, he will transform your hero into a different hero called Ragnaros. This hero only have 8 health, and you could combo this minion with a card called Treachery. Treachery is a card that will send a friendly minion into the opponent's side, and because of that, you could give Majordomo Executus to your opponent, and you kill Majordomo, which will transform the opponent's hero into an 8 health Ragnaros. And because the opponent only have 8 health, it's really easy to kill. And what's funny is that when you transform the enemy into Ragnaros, and when you kill the Ragnaros, the second hero of this fight will not appear, and you will instantly win. And you will see the strategy being pulled off here. So he put Majordomo, then he gave Majordomo to his opponent. He killed Majordomo, which transformed the enemy hero into Ragnaros. And by killing Ragnaros, you win the game instantly without even encountering the second boss. And that's GG for Tsubaki, 118-30. Well, unfortunately for Tsubaki, he dies a lot on the first and fourth fight of this run. The first and fourth fight is a fight with a pre-made deck. And by pre-made deck, I mean it's a deck that the game gives for you, and you have no opportunity to modify these decks. So it's all just about the execution and RNG. You can't try to build a consistent strategy here. And yeah, he dies a lot on those fights. While Mirin, the winner of this race, he managed to beat the first and fourth fight relatively quickly, and he managed to score a PB of 58 minutes, which beats his previous time by like 6 minutes. So congratulations!
Right. Yeah. So it's a great run. It's a great run on both ends. Thank you, SRD, for your insightful and entertaining commentary on this particular game.
Yeah, and I guess I should also say thanks to Dr. Bob Plastic for accompanying me in this commentary,
Mm-hmm.
which gives me a lot of insight gives me a lot of opportunity in filling up the blank commentary times, I guess.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. At this point, I'm gonna call in my next host. So I've been with